LA, huge announcement. I am shooting my special Wednesday, December 14th here in Los Angeles at the Dynasty Typewriter Theater. Go to ryansickler.com for tickets. Use code Sickler. You're going to get half off tickets, all right? Please come out. I want the place packed. We're doing 2 shows, and I want all the diehards there, all right? Screw the industry. This is for the fans. Go to ryansickler.com. Get your tickets today. Grand Rapids, I'll see y'all December 9th and 10th. Get your tickets to those shows and all shows on my website at ryansickler.com.
The HoneyDew with Ryan Sickler.
Welcome back to the HoneyDew, y'all. We are over here doing it in the Night Pants Studios. I am Ryan Sickler, ryansickler.com, Ryan Sickler on all your social media. And I just want to say, as I say every week, thank you. Thank you very much for however you support this show, however you support me. It does not go unnoticed. I genuinely appreciate it. And if you want to make a difference, an easy, free one, then hit subscribe on that YouTube channel. You know what I'm saying? You're watching. Just hit it. It makes a big difference in our world. And if you got to have more HoneyDew, then you got to check out the Patreon. It's the wildest show on Patreon. It's called The HoneyDew with Y'all. And I'm highlighting the lowlights with y'all. And y'all have stories that I still have nightmares about. All right. So it is $5 a month. If you sign up for a year, you get over a month free, and you're getting the HoneyDew a day early. You're getting it ad free, and it's no additional cost. It's not all these layers and whatever. It's $5. Okay, tiers, whatever. And if I am in your town when you're around, come out and see me on tour. I'll be in Chicago November 11th and 12th, and Grand Rapids December 9th and the 10th. That's the biz. Now you guys know what we do over here. We highlight the lowlights. I always say these are the stories behind the storytellers. I am very excited to have this storyteller back on the HoneyDew, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome Matt Braunger. Welcome back to the HoneyDew.
Thank you, Ryan. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it.
Thank you for being here, young man. You look good, by the way.
Thanks, dude. You too. You too. We're aging well. Look at us.
I mean, I look at pictures of me when I was younger with a goatee, and I'm like, I didn't have one fucking friend to tell me to shave that off my fucking face. Start making you think about
we all
shit.
did it. We all did
Start
it.
making you really think about who your friends were in life.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, we really all thought we were friends with Cypress Hill or House of Pain. All of us. Like we thought we could go stand with them. I had one for so long. I have no chin, so I had one for so long. It was like my savior.
I see. You know? So it was strategy for you.
Oh, yeah.
I just was like, I wonder what this would look like. And then I left it for 10 years.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and also just hanging out with Black and Puerto Rican guys from New York when I was in college. You know, it was just like, this is the look I should choose.
You should polish your beard up and stuff, bring it up way high? Did you bring it up real, like up here?
No. I used to go to this barber in the city, and he I used to go to his barber in the city, and he would clean me up, and he faded it right into just weird stubble I had once, but it was almost too clean. Like it was like George Michael doing Faith.
Yeah.
Where I was just like, oh. It's like, just not exactly. You put that on a black gentleman. You put that on a Latin gentleman. Excellent. On me, no.
Well, George Michael looked good too.
He did. He made it work.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, looked like chrome.
All right. Well, before we get into anything, speaking of work, let's talk about you have a new special coming out. Yep. Let's talk about your work.
Okay, and it's called Doug. It's named after a horrible guy I met on vacation. I think all of us dudes need bad examples. You know, we need we've had good ones. And we need those two even more. But I think at least once in your life, you got to meet someone that you're like, fuck that. I cannot be you, man. I just can't.
Can I ask you, first of all, as a comedian, as a performer,
sure.
Obviously, whatever you're choosing, you want it to, it made an impact on you.
Yes.
So this guy made such a negative impact on you that you're like, I'm going to name this fucking special after this piece of shit.
Yeah.
What happened?
It's the story that I close on, and it's got this big reveal where I bring someone out of the audience. I won't give away the twist, but it was just the whole special encompasses me having a kid during the pandemic and bartending.
Which we're going to talk about.
Yes, bartending in Chicago during during my 20s, the pandemic of my life. And your 20s. I don't know. I said in Chicago in the pandemic, and then just getting through the story I'm going to get with you a little bit, and then culminating in this trip where my wife and I were. Well, it was just like we weren't married yet, but I was like, this is going to be it. This is going to be it, and I'm looking forward to the future, maybe having a kid. And I met Doug and his wife, who this isn't giving away any jokes, but every time I saw Doug, he was wet and drunk. We were in Anguilla,
wet
in the Caribbean. Like he woke up in the froth of the surf with just a half bottle of Jack.
Such a great description.
And they were clearly.
You never go to wet.
No.
If somebody just says, imagine what this person looks like, wet never enters the fucking equation.
But I don't know why. Like, where did you come from? I don't remember if this made it in the special, but at one point he followed a large black gentleman down the beach, insisting that the guy was in the NFL, but he couldn't remember his name. And the guy's like, thick patois, like, I'm not an NFL man. Hey, like he's just like, please, leave me alone. And I'm like, just so drunk, the racism is magnified. And what it come down to is him and his wife both, they were on vacation without their kids. And they weren't like, you go on vacation with your kids, you're like, yes, right? You're like, oh, but you're also like, I miss them. I know I'm when on the road and I'm away from Rose, I'm just like, this is good to have this freedom, but I miss, we feel lucky. They were angry at the fact that they had kids, furious, as if someone else
complaining about it when they're not even there.
Yeah. Only part I'll do from the bit is Doug's wife sucked too, so bad I don't remember her name.
As I'm sitting here thinking, I'm a single man, and Doug's tied down. You know what I'm saying? I understand that maybe the quality of the person's not that great, but Doug went and did it, man. And Doug found his.
It bugs me that he has I think that's a cool name. Every Doug I've met is chill. Like they sell you weed at a good price.
At a good price.
Have some with you. No one showed up to your party yet. Doug doesn't care. He's like, they're gonna come, man. Chill out. Smoke some of this. Dougs make lives better generally. This guy sucked. So Doug's wife, my wife, was like, so you have kids? She's like, ugh. Yeah. And she's like, are they here? My wife goes, are they here? And Doug's wife goes, no. Fuck that. Fuck no. Fuck them. Fuck them. What? Okay.
All right, Mrs. Doug.
And we're both childless. We're free as can be. But like just having that moment of like, I'm never gonna like ever. Sure, when my kid gets into teen years, and yours as well, I'm sure both of us at certain points will be like, I can't kill him, because there'll be those moments, they crash the car, whatever. But like the hatred was real. They talked about their kids the way some people talk about like their landlords, so angry.
This son of a bitch.
You know what he tried? Okay. Yeah. So anyway, but
they bonded over their love comes from probably the hatred of their children.
I don't even think they liked each other.
No?
No.
Oh, man, I'm trying to
I'm trying
to find something
and
here
like
for
there
Doug.
were moments where Doug seemed fun, but he would just get way too drunk, way too fast. I would see him. It was a small resort. He would be passed out.
Every day you're seeing him.
Dude, there's this outdoor bar called Elvis's Bar, and there's this giant dude, Caribbean man, pouring drinks, and he had this jar of this shot that he made that was like, it just burned like gas, but it was great. Like you have to do one of Elvis's shots. And it was in a boat on the sand. The whole bar had like seats built into the side of the bar that you sit on the boat. It was great. And I'd get there at like 9 and Doug's asleep across 2 of the chairs. And people are like taking pictures with him and shit. And I'm just like, Doug, again?
Doug.
And his wife is just like, look at all these pictures we're taking with him.
You can't avoid Doug, man.
You need help, Doug.
You need help. All right, so where can we find the special?
Okay, so
I had to ask about Doug.
Yeah. So the special is going exclusively to Moment House, which is a thing. September 15th, it'll go up for pre-sale. It'll be $5, and then September 16th, it'll be the regular price, which it's somewhere between 5 and 10. I forget what it is, but anyway, it's a special that I had the hour ready to go. at the beginning of 2020, we all know what happened. All the penis joke emporiums shut down across the country. So it's like there's no shooting specials. People didn't feel comfortable. I wasn't going to pack a house and be like, you love me though, right? Let's get sick.
Let's get sick.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, let's shelve it. And I had to wait a year. And by then I'd had a kid and, did this trip I'm going to talk about with you. And then like, half that material I just threw out and like wrote from there. So it's this, and it's got this big twist ending that, I let some networks look at it and got some offers, but I was just like, I want this to be more of an event. Like I want this thing to be, because it's got this reveal at the end that I did on the road and people would film it and put it up on Instagram and I have to be like, and I'd be like, please take this down. And they would. And thankfully it was no one who had a massive following that blew this thing for me. But, from then on, the months leading up to the special, I was like, do not film this, or don't tell people how this goes kind of thing. Because it's almost like a magic trick. So I'm trying to make this thing, it's up for 2 weeks. You can watch it anytime during those 2 weeks and download it. And I want it to be like a thing where people are going to watch it with friends. Almost like, remember when you were a kid and someone would get, like my dad's getting the Tyson fight. Yeah. You're like, let's go. And there was nowhere to sit. Like everyone's just asses and elbows. Like I want to give that kind of feel where it's kind of like it's up for a limited time. Let's do that. It's one of those things I'm just trying because I think the special market is beyond glutted. You know what I mean? Like it has been forever. And that's fine. That just means there's variety. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm going to get the kind of reaction to my special that, because Andrew Schultz did the same thing, and made like $1 million. Yeah. Shameless. $1 million and then took it down and then put it back up and did a video that was like, I just love money. Sorry. And I'm just like, good for you, dude. But I'm like, all right. I'll follow that. I'll try to do that same kind of thing because that guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah, fuck yeah, he does.
You know what I mean? So I'm just like, it's kind of nice to not have to dance the dance. Like I remember talking to.
I thanked him at the Comedy Store. I was like, I appreciate you guys like him and Segura and these guys all paving the way for everybody, putting it out there, showing you that it works. Mm-hmm. It's a tried and true method that you don't have to fucking fail with. These motherfuckers got all the money. Let them fucking tell us what works. You know what I mean? That didn't work? No, don't waste that 20 grand. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
I had a podcast that was doing like whatever numbers, and I just stopped because I'm just like, this is I put everything into this for 2 years. Cool. Let me focus on my social media. My social media since then has doubled, which is great. But it's like, here's in a nutshell. I remember someone. It was David Angelo in New York. I think he had like a razor blade company that he started or something. And he said someone else was saying to him like, oh, I'm going to see if I can get an ad on Tim Dillon's podcast. And David Angelo's like, you're going to have to pay. And he gave him a figure for like a red ad that I was like, good for Tim. Mm-hmm. You fucking kidding me? Like that, like that's another example of a guy who like went from, 3 years ago, people are like, oh, I've seen him, he's funny, to just like, oh yeah, he's playing a
juggernaut.
Juggernaut. He's doing 5 nights at the Aloha Arena or whatever. Where it's just like same thing with Tom, where they just built their own thing. They built their own stadium.
Well, that's the beautiful thing is that no longer is it just Netflix or just HBO.
Right.
It's your own YouTube. It's Amazon. It's Showtime. Right. It's all these places. So the good news is if you have fans and they like you, there's no channel loyalty.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
they're gonna put your name in a search engine and fucking find you, and they're like, they don't give a fuck if it's Pluto TV.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? They don't give a fuck if they love you.
Yeah. And I'm just trying to get more people to know who would like me to know who I am. That's all I'm kind of doing right now, which is, it's fun. It's fun to feel a little more free. I remember Kanane, last year, the last Just for Laughs before the lockdown, I was like, hey, how was, and I've done it probably 9 times and stuff, and I'm sure you've done it a bunch of times. And
no.
Really?
This was my first year.
Seriously?
Yeah.
That makes no sense to me.
Yeah, me either.
You're one of the funniest guys I know. All right,
nice.
Anyway. But I was like, how was it this year? And Kyle was like, dancing for the Empire has become tiresome. because that's how they make you feel. And that festival has been good to me. Yeah. You know what I mean? But it is that thing where you just feel like all eyes are on you, and they're not, but you feel all kind of, you tense up. And I feel like those guys and gals being pioneers, doing their own thing, making these podcasts massive and stuff and blowing up on social. Anyway, Brave New World. It's pretty cool.
All right. So let's get into your story.
Okay. So 2020, we're locked down. My wife and I had a kid and she was born in August. And so we're, gearing up, and we did the hospital thing with, she had our daughter with a mask on. I had a mask on. It was a wild time. The whole thing broke my brain. At one point,
because at one point you guys, I know I say we were, you and your wife was pregnant when there wasn't COVID.
That's right.
And then all of a sudden, it seems like maybe the first half of the pregnancy was no COVID exist, and then March on, it's holy fuck.
Yeah. I never forget sitting with her on the porch and her realizing where everyone, it just dawned on everyone, like we can't fly in for the baby shower. And she's like, I'm not going to have a baby shower. And just started crying. And it just broke me in half, because it was but that was extrapolation of everyone. Yeah. Everyone had something that they were looking forward. Nope. I can't
Kirsten, my producer, was going to get married, and it ruined them. Ruined what they had planned to do. They still went and did it. I'm
so glad it didn't go that bad. Ruined the marriage.
Their original plans.
He turned gay. What? I don't know if he can blame that.
I don't know if he can blame that on COVID.
He can't blame that. Yeah, it was. At one point, I went to get coffee when we were there for the hospital for 3 days, because you had to show up on your due date even if you were having a kid or not. We had to go and get induced.
Oh, is that right? Yeah. There was no, it's coming when it's coming. Yeah, they were like, nah, bullshit.
We got your spot.
Yeah.
You don't want your spot. It was like a restaurant reservation.
Right, yeah.
You don't show up by 8, we're going to give that table away. It was like that. And so I went to get coffee the second day, and I came back and went in the wrong room. And there was a dude and his lady, and they were feeding the baby. She has no shirt on, titties out. And I just walked in, coffees. It was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And they laughed so hard.
Oh, they did.
So it's one of those things, they're always remember when that dingbat dad just walked in.
Came in and your titties were all out and shit. This shit on TV right now.
She didn't give a shit. I was like,
he's on Moment House, for God's sake.
You know him. He's the guy that got Mad TV canceled. Wasn't that him? I think I saw him pushing daisies. But so it was a bananas time. So we go home, and it was you just live at home. And it was perfect because, I have this kid. I'm just taking care of this kid. She doesn't have to work at this point. And we were got this wild idea of why don't we, because my parents drove down in an RV that they rented for one weekend and came in the house, tested and all that jazz. And then it was cool. But then we were well, let's go up there. And Oregon caught fire. And then...
So where's up there?
Portland, Oregon.
So you're trying to drive up to Portland, but Portland
that was the plan.
On fire.
All of Oregon along the route.
Wildfires and stuff.
Ashland, everything. Yeah. It was back... The air quality was worse than industrialized areas of India, where they don't have environmental regulations to the degree we have. And it's just it's like smoking all day. Yeah. And so we're we can't take this kid up there. I don't want to go up there. It's brutal. And so, as I put it, California then got jealous, and it caught fire too. And you remember that.
Yeah.
And so the wildfires were real close, especially on the east side of Greater Los Angeles. And we were just what if we just drove up to your house, your parents' house in Mansfield, Massachusetts, about 3,300 miles.
So original plan, Portland.
Yeah.
And then back to California. And none of that. So let's just go all the fucking way the other way.
Get the fuck out of Dodge and just take this small
brand
SUV.
New baby.
Yeah. 6 weeks. And load this car up like the end of a Tetris game. So just all this shit and just and drove there, lived there for a month.
All right, wait, how long did it take you?
Oh, God. A week. Probably about a week.
and you have a new baby, what was the scariest thing you encountered driving with a new baby across the country?
You know what? Because it was that time of rampant COVID where, you know, I've had COVID at least. I've had it once, definitely. I feel like I might have had it twice.
I've had it twice.
Yeah. I'm not walking around like I'm immune, you know, but at the same time, I don't get that feeling walking into a crowded room I used to, where I'd be like, no. I really felt like, you know, because we just got takeout everywhere. But I remember waiting for takeout in a packed Cracker Barrel and being like, you got to take this baby outside. Yeah. Put this baby in the car right now. Yeah. I'll take the hit.
I would do that on a normal time. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah.
No. And
they'll call us.
It was like being in another world where, like, you know, people from, you know, New York or California or Oregon, sometimes they'll go down south and they'll be like, everyone's acting like there's no COVID here and stuff. Yeah, sure, that's everywhere. And we're comedians. We've always kind of been in these areas that just like the rules don't apply to us. And I'm just like, I can dig libertarian lifestyles.
Forever while I've been touring, I've been like, what are the rules here? Like mask or no mask. Some of them go out of their way to tell you not to wear the fucking thing. Of course.
Some places
like, can't even get in here.
Nope.
Can't even get in here.
Don't wear that.
Like, all right.
Yeah. Don't wear that Biden mask. Yeah. You know, it's like, there's nothing on here. There's nothing on my face. This is a medical mask. Yeah. But like, I mean, that Cracker Barrel, they were the vibe, like the staff was so happy and shit, and they were that whole thing of like, it'll get here when it gets here. Yeah, I think they made it. Let me go check it. And you're just like, I need to get the fuck. Like, I was scared. I was like, I need to get out of here. I have a child, please, you know. And we were in a motel that was just down the road, and it was like I don't know if that was actually, you know what? No, I remember the scariest was because we drove through the deep south on the way back. All right. The week of the election. Week of the election. And we were in Mississippi. Yeah. That's right.
That is the South.
That's the South.
Yeah.
And
people hear my accent, they're like, you from the South? I'm like, no. Maryland is not the South.
No, it is not.
It is below the Mason-Dixon line, but it ain't the fucking South. There's only a couple of states
it's kind of honorary north. Like,
yeah.
Let's be honest. You know, if you're like, that southern city, Baltimore, you're like,
no,
not in your mind. Yeah.
Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I will say,
what are you driving?
A Tesla, black Tesla.
Okay.
California plates.
Great.
Yeah.
You guys.
Target.
Definitely
on
Trump
my
supporters.
back.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You know what I mean? It's like some of the charging stations. I'm just like, there's gonna be a guy.
Your car's got a mask.
There's just
gonna
be a guy with an AR just waiting, no shirt on. Like, sure. I got one. Just a turkey shoot. You know, especially. Do you remember the tension during that week?
Oh fuck.
That tension when, you know, they're like, stop the count.
Mm-hmm.
And because all the vote by mails hadn't come in, and they're like rampaging, going to the election counters and screaming and banging on the windows and stuff. Like, I didn't see any of that. I will say all that wildness. You know, I don't want to be that guy who's just like, it's the media. But like, here's the thing: it's social media. It's all clicks, and it always has been, even before we had social media. So before the news,
if it leads, it leads.
100%. Yeah. So it's like when there was the riots in Portland, which was just people would march, and then late at night, a couple people would set shit on fire. And that's fucked. But if you were there, and I had friends there, they were just like, yeah, there was tear gas and stuff like that. But it's like, it's not constant rioting. This is just, not to be like a few bad apples, but you know, it's like, but if you watch the news, especially like Fox News, like I had friends that live in Florida, they were, you know, Texas, that were just like, so how are your parents, man? Her whole city's on fire. And you're like, it's a 4-block radius.
Yeah, right.
Everything else, no. Like, no, don't believe the hype kind of thing. So I met more people that were just content to be like, hey, how you doing? You know what I mean? Because the South is also polite. That's the thing people forget, you know, when they stereotype it, just like anywhere else. But people, like, I had one time where I was I'm charging my car, And this
where do you do it in a place like Mississippi,
dude? They have them everywhere.
Oh, is that right?
I mean, everywhere.
Wow.
I've been in the most rural area,
okay.
and I'm like, and there's one out by, because I think they made a deal with like Walmart and Target, so they'll have them in their parking lots,
Gotcha.
And yeah, I think it was a Target parking lot, and it had all these other restaurants and things. I think a Cracker Barrel. Let's have this episode be sponsored by Cracker Barrel. If you're listening, Cracker Barrel, reach out. Love your chicken fried steak. And this dude, like in a pickup, like rolls up, and he gets out, and he had no shirt on, like none, and just he had the kind of if you told somebody what Bert Kreischer looked like, and they were kind of like, oh, he sat, and you're also like, this is how much he drank this week. It's typical week. That would, you draw him because like Bert's in decent shape.
Yeah,
he's got a belly.
He is,
but it's one of those hard bellies.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like a tough belly.
Mm-hmm.
This guy had a real soft belly, like one of those bellies where I remember I went to Arthur Bryant's barbecue in Kansas City once, and there was a guy who's probably like barely 30, but was so fat and so pink he looked like an actual pig, and I was afraid for him. As he's just inhaling ribs. And I'm like, please slow down, sir. Please. Like, did you ever smoke cigarettes?
No, thank God, no.
Well,
I mean, I've tried them, but I never smoked.
I used to smoke when I
did.
Okay. I used to smoke when I drank. And it was like, I was going to say, you ever have someone try to bum one of your smokes off you that you're like, I don't think I can, man. You look terrible.
Listen, these are terrible.
Your skin looks awful. And your frame is not built for all that weight. So this guy gets out, and it's just like he has these jeans that look like a denim tent that someone took deep into the woods for a long time. I think he had one flip-flop on. One flip-flop.
Yeah.
Just huge gut. And he gets out, and he's just like looking at me, but he's almost looking through me. And I can't tell if he's drunk or what.
This is an alien to him right now.
Yeah, and I've just gotten out of my car, and I probably look like I'm alone, So he's just like, "What's up with you, man?" But then I go around the side of the car, and I take out Rose. Now Rose has a giant head of curly hair. She looks like Darla from Little Rascals. Mm-hmm. I'll be honest, and she was just starting it, but she has like these eyes that look like sapphires. Nobody in my family has blue eyes. Same with my wife, except for her mom and my mom. Like I think she has a couple of distant relatives. Everybody in my family has dark eyes. So I pull out this black Irish baby, dark curls, bright blue eyes, just pull her out. And he goes from, I'm going to murder you with my hands to, like I saw his musculature relax, and he just said, to this day, I don't know if he was talking to me or God, but he just went, look at that baby.
That was it.
Look at that baby. And he said it again, like under his breath. It was almost like a song, like a Southern guy has like a little tone that flows. Yeah. Oh, look at that baby.
That changed that man.
Yeah, like Elvis. Sounded like a kind of like an Elvis riff. And then I think the guy was Leonard or something. Was Leonard? Or yeah. Oh no. Yeah, let's just say it was Leonard. He's like Leonard. He goes, look at this baby. Like he yelled it, and his friend got out of the car.
Oh, somebody in there?
Yeah, and the guy got out and looked, and they were both just standing there, and we just started talking. And he's like, and again, and they were just like, the guy's like, what's that, a spaceship?
Tulsa? Is that a Tulsa?
Yeah.
It's a Tulsa.
It's a Tulsa, Alabama. Or Oklahoma. Yeah, and it just went, all tension gone. I mean, I kind of feel like we would diffuse so many situations if we just brought our kids. You just bring your kid along to any kind of mixed group, viewpoint wise. It's just kind of like, look, we all want the same thing deep down. Like, come on. Like let's just get there. And so I ran into, like, we were in New Orleans when they called it for Biden, and it was like kind of like being in like I almost want to say like a Blue Alamo, where like you get through the gates just as the cavalry was about to murder you, the other army, just, but at the same time, I think it was just this was before Trump was doing his whole, they stole it from me.
Right.
It was just every network's calling it. And we're not hearing from either one of these guys. And so you saw people either bumming or losing their mind with joy, or just smiling, like nobody. That's one of those things I would think about, the manipulation that we're subject to as human beings, and us specifically as Americans, is like there was no one losing their shit. It's like there were people partying in bars and stuff, but like they weren't. No one. I saw cars with Trump stickers go by, and I think maybe once someone was just like ha ha or something like that, but like I saw it once, and I was in the South. I saw a lot of those trucks, and I didn't see anyone. Fucking with those guys. I mean, in fact, we parked and we got, I opened the trunk and we had this like baby station back there specifically marked off for diaper changing. So I put her down and this dude walks by, just looks like he came out of a shack, and he's got a red wagon with like 3 kids in it. And he has a t-shirt on that's like shredded, but he had a paintbrush and he painted "Bye Don" like across the whole front. And he's dragging, and he walks by. He's like, "She's gonna grow up in a better world." That's all he said to me. He walked by, but it was like, it was cool to be in that town where it's just like, are you from Baltimore?
Yeah.
So you like a nice cultural mix, I'd imagine, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of black girls, if that's what you're asking.
That's exactly what I meant.
Of course.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just leave with that.
Over here. We're diverse.
You like black chicks, right?
Look at that. Right? Give the gift of dadgrass this holiday season. Now available for everyone in the family. Dad, mom, even the dog. You and your loved ones can chill out without getting them stoned to the bone. Dadgrass is legal. Organic hemp that relaxes your body and mellows your mind. Dadgrass CBD products are made with 100% organic hemp that's easy to dose, and the effects come on smooth. They offer a variety of products from their smokable pre-rolled joints, which are my favorite, as well as hemp flower and a variety of CBD tincture drops. Enjoy the effects of CBD while keeping a clear head. All Dadgrass products are federally legal for ages 18 and over, and it ships right to your door anywhere in the U.S. Whether you're looking for a new buzz or a chill way to enjoy an old favorite, Dadgrass will leave you in a euphoric mood. Go to dadgrass.com/honeydew to check out their products. Right now, Dadgrass is offering my listeners 20% off your first order when you go to dadgrass.com/honeydew. Go to dadgrass.com/honeydew for 20% off your first order. That's dadgrass.com/honeydew. You've heard me talk about how important it is to have a VPN to protect your online privacy, but choosing a VPN you trust is equally as important. I only recommend brands to my listeners that I believe in, and I can say with full confidence that ExpressVPN is the best VPN on the market, and here's why. Number one, ExpressVPN doesn't log your activity online. Lots of cheaper free VPNs make money by selling your data to advertisers, but ExpressVPN doesn't do this. They even developed a technology trusted server that makes their VPN servers incapable of storing any data at all. Number two, speed. ExpressVPN now uses Lightway, a new VPN protocol they engineered to make user speeds faster than ever. ExpressVPN is always blazing fast and lets me stream videos in HD quality with zero buffering. But what really sets ExpressVPN apart is how easy it is to use. You don't need any technical skills to get set up. You just fire up the app, you tap one button to connect, that's it. Even your grandparents can do it. And it's not just me saying this. CNET, Business Insider, The Verge, and many other tech journals rate ExpressVPN the #1 VPN in the world. I tell you, we have it here at the studio. We all use it. So protect yourself with the VPN that I use and trust. Use my link, expressvpn.com/honeydew today, and get an extra 3 months free on a 1-year package. That's expressvpn.com/honeydew. Visit expressvpn.com/honeydew to learn more. Now, let's get back to the do. Okay, so yeah. Wait, let's go back to the story, because you drove across and you stay there.
Yeah.
Your in-laws, your wife's parents,
yes.
Or you get your own place?
No. We stayed in their house.
You all stay in their house. Okay.
Yes.
And then what? How long are you there?
A month.
Just 1 month.
Lived like townies.
And then you're driving back?
Yes.
Right after that. Okay.
Yeah, so we were there we left.
And what'd you do? Go down like the East Coast and then across? Or did you just sort of diagonal down?
Kind of diagonal down.
Okay.
So yeah, the night before the night of the election, we were in, oh God damn it, what's that really awesome town? Is it outside or in the Ozarks? God damn it. The thing that sticks out in my mind is like Steve Martin lives there. All these people live there. That it's like a lot of bands have come out of there. Fuck. I'm butchering. Someone's screaming at me right now listening to this podcast and they know exactly what. But it was like one of those like really mixed towns, like New Orleans kind of thing. It's not
Branson, Missouri, is it?
No.
Okay.
No. I keep wanting to say Raleigh, but it wasn't Raleigh.
Okay.
God damn it. We'll have to edit this in or something like that. It'll come to you
in the middle of the fucking night tonight.
Exactly. Of course it will. But my point is there were, it was the night of the election and I just went and got takeout and I got to-go cocktails for me and the wife and was like, all right, like let's, and I'm watching, the returns come in and down below us, there are people coming in from the rural areas with like Trump flags and honking at people and it was that was when I saw people screaming at each other kind of thing. These guys were just kind of like rabble rousing and doing that, like just kind of like riling up the hippies. We're just like, dude, why? But it was such a fucking crazy time to not be in my house, because like in LA when they called it, people were partying at gas stations and shit. And I'm just like, I wanted to be around that vibe, man. That'd be cool. But it was like, we were just out there. We didn't really think about where we would be along the process. It was more, when you focus on the more important things, like your family, you're kind of just like, well, look, we're going to get there when we get there. And this is the best, way possible. Like the only time we ever really pushed it in terms of the trip was when we drove from Erie, Pennsylvania to Buffalo. And that was the last leg and it was already nightfall. And that was like one of the, like there are a couple times where I was freaked out, but we got her that right time. We could never do that right now. She's 2 now. No. She would never stand for that. Those like long ride. No way.
Yeah, baby will sleep.
They sleep so much. They, And she realized as we were driving to Buffalo, like it hit her, like I should be in a bed. This is horse shit. And she just started crying like so fucking loud. It was just that thing where I'm just like pedal to the metal. Please, cops, don't stop me, But driving into it's one of those things I don't regret at all because just the sanity it gave us as parents and as people who do like to travel and see other people and not really see other people. I'm trying to get my wife to agree to that, but right. But, no, just like it was the best thing for me. That's one of those things. It's like when your producer told me like, oh, you could bring in like your kind of darker, low points in your life kind of thing. I already brought mine in that last one I did with you where I talked about, going, to my drunk as fuck to my current wife's first wedding, Yeah,
I remember.
Right. And it was like, in that era, in that year of my life where I was just like, what have I done with myself? What the fuck am I kind of thing where it's like, this is like a high that had moments of holy fucking shit. Like what's going on? What's going on in the country? What am I doing? But it was also like, I use this quote a lot. But, I do think Helen Keller nailed it. She's like, safety is basically an illusion. Life is either a great adventure or nothing. Like you have to go for it. I remember I was talking to Joe.
That's the truth.
I was talking to Joe Coy about that, about like how.
But I'm just thinking, poor Helen Keller just got to go reach for the iron and shit.
She's like, fuck it.
We're talking about our dreams. Like, she's just like, I just want to fucking.
Well, she said that to a guy after he was like, why'd you grab my dick? Like, that's how that's. You didn't know that story?
Nah,
no, Helen went for it, man.
Man, Helen Wheels, I heard they call her.
She would say to dudes, she'd go, "You sure cocking? I can't tell," and just grab them. Just get a
sure cocking.
Just get a piece of that kielbasa right away and yank it.
That's a good quote, though. That's a real quote, though.
It's a real quote. It's a real quote about how where people are like, "How did you make it through this? What about your journey?" And she's like, "You kind of have to say fuck it." And it's like, there were several times on this trip I'm like, we could die. I don't know what's going to happen.
What was most scary for you? Because you also have a newborn, though. You have a newborn.
Exactly. It wasn't so much we could, but it comes down to this is the only thing that matters to me is this kid. You know what I mean? I have to keep this kid alive, or I will die. I will die. I can't go on without this kid. So there were times where, not worried for the kid's safety, but just like, shit goes wrong. Crazy stuff happens on the open road. We live in LA where people just shoot each other from cars because they cut each other off and stuff. And like, I didn't know. Like I thought like you were like, did you have a charging station? Everywhere. There's ones like in the jungle, in the desert. Like they're all over the place.
Yeah, I didn't know
I didn't know how they built that infrastructure. This is before that whole bill they just passed. And I worry. You see stuff on the news about guys, parking their giant pickups in front of them. It's like,
is that
you ain't
right?
charging here.
Blocking
Fuck you. Yeah, totally. Saw none of that. Everybody was. There were a lot more stalls open in Mississippi. I'll say that.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
But like, I met a dude in Alabama with a F-150, most popular vehicle in America, and he had a Tesla too, and he was charging his Tesla. And he pulled up in his F-150 and his wife got out of the Tesla and they switched cars. And he's like, I'm not doing anything. I'll stay here while it charges. And we just started talking about parenthood. And he said, because your daughter's how old?
She'll be 8.
8, right on. And he told me, he's like, having daughters the best. He's like, they love your guts till they're 13. Then they hate the shit out of you to they're 30. And I'm like, wow.
30's a long time.
It's a long time.
No, I'm hoping for 25.
Right?
Yeah. Post-college.
30.
I
don't know if I'd be alive. I had her late.
It's a long time. Me too.
It's a long time.
Me too.
I don't want to be in my deathbed and she's like, you're okay now.
Yeah, you know what?
You're all right. You're cool.
Yeah, I don't get anything other than that. Yeah.
No. But yeah, it was this journey of just experiencing different environments that were oddly very similar in their own way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think most people want the same shit. I think
Yeah.
really when it comes down to gun laws, most people, either side, want the same fucking thing. Common sense.
Less
they don't
people
want
getting shot.
Yeah,
who
less
don't deserve
children
to get
in
shot.
school. Yes. I mean, of course, I don't care who you vote for. Most people want that. Most people want the same thing when it comes to, I'd say, money and all that shit. It's when the teams start riling each other up that everybody gets this. And also, you could take 12 videos and put them out online and be like, look at all these people blocking the Chargers. And it's 12 people.
Oh, yeah.
Out of billions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's not a real representation. No. When you do the math, it's not a real representation of anything.
Can you imagine if we did that about more shit where it's just like, it seemed gentlemen are taking out their dicks in Walmarts and
you're about to start
and fucking Halloween decorations right in the aisle. And they found one guy doing it, and it's just like it's a thing people are doing. And of course, since we have 24-hour news, there's one guy.
People are pulling their penis out in Walmart.
They're going nuts.
But if you do hashtag it,
please send a pic. Blur out the stuff. So like, you're gonna hang up your Halloween decorations, and your kid's like, "Oh, I love Halloween," and your neighbor's like, "Take that down. Someone's gonna fuck that.
Someone's gonna pour their
take down that fake witch."
Oh man. So let me ask you this: what is something you learned about your wife on this trip that you didn't know already about her? This is a lot of time in close quarters with a brand new human.
Yes.
That you both have to keep alive.
Sure.
Who just came out of her body, P.S. You still feel the same.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Your fucking pussy's fine.
Yeah,
your pussy's fine, bro.
It's tight and right.
It's tight and right, bro. Yeah. So what is something maybe the same thing. What is something you guys learned about one another that you didn't already know?
Well, we had a snoo. You know what a snoo is? It is basically a crib that kind of rocks the child. Mm-hmm. You strap them in. It's like full on like a baby straitjacket, and it makes a sound that simulates the womb. It's like a white noise.
Oh, okay.
So it's dope if you're in the room with it too. It makes you go sleep. And this fucking thing weighs as much as you. And I had to put it in a different hotel room
every night
for at least a week each way. And as I mentioned, Tetrising the whole back. So like Snoop, put something to Snoop, put that in and all this jazz. And so I had to, in different hotels are like luggage cart. You don't have that.
Yeah, right.
And so I would get a laundry barrel, whatever you call them, and put that fucker in there and stuff. So she was always in charge of just putting the kid in and doing that. I was like the mule. I always carried all the heavy stuff. So that wasn't surprising to either one of us. But I'm always surprised at how she can just be in like cool under, like if some clerk's being a dick or whatever, where, I think someone like snapped at her and she's like holding a child. And we just been driving for like 8 hours. And she was just like, okay, I understand that kind of thing, where I'm just like, I would be so mad if someone did that. I think I would take my child and hit them with my, like, take her head, feet in the face. Yeah. But it was like, she could just do that. But I will say, and I mentioned this on the special, that like, I'm one of those people who I liked the fact that supposedly they don't start absorbing words and things until, maybe like, I don't know. I'm not going to say exactly what it was, but it was like months in and she was only weeks. But my wife was very like, and I'd be just driving and be just like, fuck you, God damn it, go to hell, all that stuff. You cut me off. I'm just like, look at that son of a bitch, just angry.
This asshole. This
cursing asshole. And like, I look back and I see Rose like taking it in, like, this is good. I'm drinking this in. And my wife was always like, you have to please stop cursing in the car. And I was like, you're right, I need to. But then I flashed back on the amount of times on the trip where we slept in the same room as her every single night. So that's every single night in those hotel rooms. I got to piss. It's a jewel heist every time.
Yeah,
it's like just going slow, like, fuck, don't hit the lasers, and don't step on anything creaky or a toy and scream, and so she's in the same room as us. And like my daughter would wake up like at like 5 sometimes, she usually wake up middle of the night, get fed, put her back. And then, but we'd hope she'd sleep until 6 or something. She'd wake up like, I remember one time she woke up at like 4:30 in the morning, and my wife, loud as I'm about to say it now, just goes, "This bitch." like how could she not hear that?
Yeah.
She's clearly not asleep, but she also, like, at one point, I had no shirt on and I was picking her up and she was going for my nipple. And I was like, no, wrong parent. No milk comes out of this one. And my wife is brushing her teeth and she steps in the room and goes, "Just jizz."
Yeah.
Like, what if that sinks in? What if that comes out? So,
man, you can't watch everything you say.
No, absolutely not.
I had a guy one time. I was, when I was moved in with my daughter, she was 1. So I'm a new dad, new single dad. I don't know anything. I'm using DoorDash because it's called DoorDash.
Sure.
They're going to bring it to my door.
That's right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Not to the door of my building. They're going to bring it to my door.
Right.
This one guy, it's only been one, and I've used it a ton. This Russian dude, all pissed off. He's like, he calls me. He's like, "There's no parking." I'm like, "Yeah, there is. Just pull up out front, throw your hazards on, and just run it up real quick." "No, you come and bring me the food." I'm like, "I would, but I can't. I'm up here with a 1-year-old, and I got too much going on. I'm not grabbing her to bring her down.
Right.
I'm paying you and tipped you well to bring this to my door. Yeah. You come down and get it. You don't tell me what." I said, "Listen, motherfucker." And I went zoned in. And I was like, "It's called DoorDash. It's in the fucking name. You bring it to my door. You hear me? You bring it to my door." He goes, "I'll cancel you." I said, "Then throw the fucking order away. I don't care." And I hung up my phone and I turned around. I was like, "Oh shit, my daughter's here." And she's sitting on the couch and she goes, and I didn't know if it was good or bad.
That's so good.
It was good. She was like, yeah, you give it to him. I was like, oh, don't do that. That's not a good thing. And then he brought it up.
Holy shit!
Brought it up. That was the other thing. I threw it away though. I was like,
yeah, no, he did something. He did something. Yeah.
I threw that shit away.
It was just enough for him to just get just work up a good jack
it was
sesh.
A few minutes, and I was like,
he was up the stairs masturbating. I finish.
This motherfucker,
brings it. No way. Yeah, and I my daughter thinks nothing is funnier than when I yell in anger, or if like not when I'm really she can the vibe, but it's like it's a joke where she'll go behind a door and like shut it. I'm like, Rose, 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 and she's just cackling like they think it's the funniest. Or if I'll pretend to fall on the couch and go, ah! Like I'll do a blood-curdling scream and just fall. And she's just like slapping her knee, cracking up. So it's like, if I ever actually scream at her like in actual rage, which I've never done, I mean, when she's a teen probably, or fall down and actually scream in pain or hurt myself, like she's gonna be laughing.
Yep.
It's gonna be like on a cellular level.
But
she'll
it
have
is
that.
funny.
It is funny.
And seeing someone trip up steps, and try to catch themselves, and and then they hit. You're like, oh,
yeah, dude. I had a bit about when I when I was a waiter or a food runner. This guy, this smaller guy who's a real asshole, was like the head food runner. You know, we loaded up this tray with way too many things, and he comes back, he's like, who's that? And we're like, no, we didn't want to say, don't do it. You know, he's like, it's mine. And we're like, and he lifted, you could see in his eyes, like, I fucked up, and he got it above his head. And he's like, goes out. And it's a whole story where he trips and the shit goes everywhere. But a plate hit a dude in the face, and he made a noise like, oh! And it was like, I felt so bad, but that's the weird scream you make when you're, because men, we all have this way we go, oh, like a manly way of hurting. But he did this yell that, like, I compare it to like when I look back, like that slip people, like when people slip in ice so bad they go into the air, and go, oh,
and then it's still got the
and they hit
on the way down,
they think about is that womanly scream they let out in the air. Like, it's so embarrassing, but it's so funny to hear it, you know? I mean, I think that's one reason Will Ferrell had such a massive career, because he was a giant guy who would scream in pain and fear, hilariously. Not that any giant guy can just do it, but it's like, yeah, that was the key. That was what made us all dig that guy, because it just makes everyone, if you scream in a man voice, it's comedy gold. It just is. Like, I feel like Your Mom's House was built on clips of dudes horribly injuring themselves, and Tom just laughing,
laughing his ass.
I was on that show a couple times. I'm just like, I can't look at this, man.
There's shit he shows me. I'm still traumatized by it. I'm not even kidding you. I've watched egg yolks go up people's asshole. I'm like, why aren't you giving me a disclaimer, bro? Like, what? And then it comes out and they eat it. I'm like, stop. I can't take that.
And it's all him.
He loves it. He's just over there dying laughing.
Just crying.
Fucking sick son of a bitch. Yeah, he is.
I remember a friend in Chicago, he had this one like pillow that he would like watch football laying on and just rub on his nuts, and like it just, like on his couch, and just sweat through it and stuff. And like people were over, and this guy, it might have been my then girlfriend. It's my friend Henry. He's like, oh my God. He's like, this smells just like cinnamon. She goes, it does?
No.
Oh! Nothing smells worse than balls. And it was just
nasty shit right there.
It's like a Yankee candle that just is called balls.
So how are you doing with being a parent? How's it affected your marriage?
Well.
I'm laughing because of the way you are. Like a Doug.
No, I'm fully Doug now.
I mean, are you guys closer now than ever? Are you working good as a team?
Yeah.
Tell me what that feels like, because I don't know.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Tell me.
No, it's good because we're like old parents, She's 41, I'm 48.
Okay.
And like, for me, this is one of those things I never thought would happen.
What, being a dad or married, or what do you mean?
Kind of both.
Yeah?
Married, I could see more, but like...
How long have you been married?
Since 5 years.
Okay.
And so it's one of those things I just didn't... I thought that door had closed. And
to be a dad?
I was just like, I don't see this. I don't, one of those things where if it ever occurred to me, I was like, well, that's not happening kind of thing. And
so you were always, if it happens, it happens. You were 100%. Never, I want to be a dad, and never opposed to being a dad.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
I was always like, if I'm with someone that I love enough and they really want one, then we'll have one. And that's what happened. And it's been the best thing possible for me.
Yeah.
Where I'm healthier. I have way better perspective. When you really recognize really what matters and how, this business is so fucking stupid the way it's built.
It's nonsense.
And it's full of people who are like, here's what you got to know. And they don't know anything.
Nothing.
Because no one does. It's because the rules are always changing. And the only, Philip Seymour Hoffman in Almost Famous, the only real currency in this world is when you're uncool. And that includes just being fucking totally honest and supportive and all that shit. And that's a rarity in this business. Like, I think about the movie Grizzly Man sometimes. Mm-hmm. I never saw it. I know the guy lives with bears and gets eaten by bears, right? But the one thing I watched a mini doc about it or something. They talked about it in 60 Minutes or something. And he supposedly he was an actor, and it was down to him and Woody Harrelson for the role of Woody on Cheers.
No, is that right?
Yeah. And remember when Woody came out, like, Cheers was hot. Cheers was already...
Man, it was already a big deal.
Already
big.
Coach
had to be replaced. And
yeah, that's right.
And that launched
He
Woody.
died, yeah. And it was sliced bread. It was the biggest fucking show. Still is. Still one of those shows you can just watch any episode. And it's just...
The writing's fantastic.
Just home run. Like, every line, so good. You hear that theme song if you're a certain age, and you're like, oh, man.
Yeah.
So it's down to him and Woody Harrelson. Of course, we all know what happened. Woody Harrelson got it and is still a bankable star to this day. To this day. This guy's going to work till he's dead. This dude, we've all been there. It's down to you and someone else. This dude was just like, I'm just going to live with bears.
Yeah.
That's how bad this business is.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to go live with an apex fucking predator. I'm going to live with this thing that nothing hunts. No animals hunt this animal, because for millennia of evolution, this fucker has held his belt. Like, I'm going to go live there with those guys. Like, bananas. So it'll fuck you up. And it definitely, this business did fuck me up. I definitely had the whole, as my buddy in Chicago, Monty, would put it, compare and despair, man. Compare and despair, where you just go, well, why am I not here? Why is this person here and I'm here? Why am I not? What did I do wrong? Who do they know? It's horse shit. It makes you spin out. And I'm funny. You're funny. Nothing's going to change that. That's
what I'm trying to tell you. JFL, my first time this year. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
It didn't matter.
No, of course not.
You couldn't tell me that 15, 20 fucking years ago.
100,000%.
But it didn't matter.
We're like,
then you've got 2 years of no comedy clubs. It didn't fucking matter.
Nope.
If you put yourself online. It didn't matter.
That's
there was
right.
still an audience there.
Yeah.
It didn't matter.
Yeah. And you've built this empire of yours.
That's nice of you to call it an empire.
I'm using the term loosely.
Thank you, man. I apprpreciate it. We got a couple fucking time.
You got some shit, man. You've made some shit and have a good and honorable and hilarious, a name that means funny. You know what I mean? So
thank you.
I'm saying, it's one of those things where we've already defined ourselves. We've already done that, and proved ourselves. And
I know if I'd have pitched this show to anyone, they'd have said no.
Yeah, why?
Right.
Who are you?
No one wants to hear that. No one wants to hear people's worst times. It's all about the highlights.
Do you own some IP? Anything from Marvel? Do you know?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And it's just, anyway, long story long, having Rose made me go, okay, this is something I'm focused on. I mean, and now I'm like, I'm that dad, I fucking.
Fuck yeah, bro.
Like,
I got a Rose on mine.
You do?
Right there.
Oh, fuck yeah. Let's kiss.
See that?
You find out it's fake and I'm gay?
It's a temporary tattoo. I'm like, this son of a bitch.
And then
mine almost made me pass
your producer, your producer. What's her name again?
Kirsten
is like, she's telling the story a month from now, and Braunger just fucking grabs him. He won't let him go. He's kissing him. I had to call the cops.
The cops.
It's fucking horrible. It was horrible. No, but yeah, it's made everything run smoothly because it's just you can't be selfish, and you feel so much better not being selfish. We're just like, I spent all morning trying to cheer her up, because she wasn't feeling that great before I took her to daycare, and got her in the car, and she's kind of crying a little bit about something. And I do this routine where I come out of the house like a dinosaur that's lost, and I'm just like tripping over branches and shit and bushes out in front of my house. And like, she is cracking up in the car. And it's one of those things where I'm just like, that to me.
What's better than that?
Nothing. It'd be like selling out 7 nights at the Chicago Theater or something.
What's better than that?
And crushing every night. Nothing. It's just
nothing.
I'm always going to have that.
So fuck this business.
Yes.
And do what's best for you and your family.
Let's get married and start a farm.
You and me,
bro.
Ryan. All the way, farm to table. I've been saying this for years. When's Braunger going to come around, bro? Farm to table.
I would be the worst farmer ever.
You're the gatherer. I'll be a hunt and gatherer. You can be home with the kids.
Oh, that's cool. All right. Great. Yeah.
We'll work it out. I'll go live with the Grizzlies.
I'll be your little missy.
It is the best choice. It's the best thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's fuck all these jobs. I don't care what your occupation is anymore. Your family's first.
Yeah.
What we all just went through. And I don't know if it'll be 10, 15, 20 years, but there'll probably be another weird lockdown in our lifetime at some point.
Sure.
At some point. We should be ready for that.
Yeah.
But
and what I think is you and I mean, you had your first child when you were
well, I'm 49. That's a 41 too, right?
So
now.
You'd lived.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying everybody have a kid in your 40s, but sure as hell worked for me.
Yeah.
I had tried everything.
I mean, these knees
done
and
it
his
all.
Back are and not in full agreement with a child in my 40s.
That's true.
But everything else has been all in.
Yeah. But like it's that thing where I really think, not to throw it back to Doug, but the reason why Doug was such a bitter asshole who worked in finance or whatever bullshit he did, who was drunk all the time and hated his wife and kids, and really what is worth anything in life if that's where you're at. I don't care how much money you have. You're miserable.
That's right. You're miserable.
You're miserable. So, I think it's because he was just like, this is what you do. You get a house in the suburbs. You get a wife. You have 3 fucking kids. I don't want them. I don't want these kids. It's like, Doug,
I don't want this timeshare.
You only get one life.
Yeah, that's it.
If you don't want kids, you got to lay down the law. You have to. And I would have. I would have been like, I don't want to have a kid. I have friends who got vasectomies before they got married and were like, they don't want one, and it's like, cool. But I really feel like if Doug would have just like, if you take any message from this special, besides don't wear a tank top to a bar where they pour 151 on it and light it on fire. If you have a hairy back, don't wear a tank top.
That's a good fucking.
It's a real story. It's a Chicago story. Dude caught fire.
Did he really?
Yeah.
He caught on fire.
Yeah. We put him out with a shitload of coats. But the main thing is like, just be honest with yourself about what you do and don't want, and don't, it's like, don't be that bitter fuck who has kids you hate, man. Like,
yes, listen to your gut. Your gut is never fucking wrong. My heart has been in the way. My head has been in the way.
Yeah.
My dick has been in the way.
Yeah.
My fucking preconceived notions have been in the way. Your gut is never fucking wrong. It's the hardest thing to listen to. It's always right.
And everything I've gained that is worth a damn, I was always like, I don't know how this is going to go. I can't take back this decision. Let's try it.
I'm all in.
I tried it with moving in with my wife. I tried it with getting married to my wife. Both of those I'd never done. I'd never lived with a woman I dated.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, never.
Oh, wow.
I'd never been married. Just fucking try it. The big one, once you have a kid, you really can't take it back. You can move out. You can divorce somebody. This one was the big one, and that was the best decision I've ever made.
Good for you, dude.
I'm just saying,
Well, thank you for coming on.
Thanks, man.
And plug everything again because I want people to know about Doug.
The special is called Doug. It's named after a terrible man, but it's a blast. I think you'll really enjoy it. I want people to watch this with a group, so it's going to be on Moment House October 6th. Tickets go on sale at half price September 15th, then full price September 16th. Like I said, it's going to be up October 6th for 2 weeks, and then it's gone. I don't know what's going to happen with it next, but that's the move.
All right. Congrats, and thank you for being here.
Thank you,
and
man.
Thank you guys every week as well. I really appreciate everything you guys do. RyanSickler.com, Ryan Sickler on all social media. We'll talk to you all next week.